Hey guys, it's Maymay, and I'm so excited to be sharing this class with you. Now, I say that to you because that's a little bit different than our regular filmed videos. This is a free class. What I have done is I have created for you instructions that are free through a PDF printable, a supply list, and even a little bonus piece that I think you're really going to like. And I'm going to walk you through creating one of these albums in class style. Now, what you'll want to do to get started is you'll want to print out that PDF and look at the supply list. Many of you are already going to have the supplies you need at home to create this. You may have to pick up an album. These are the 49 Market albums. They are linked in the description below. We carry them at our store. It's one of the things I keep all the time. These two actually came from my stash because I have so many of them, and you probably have some of these laying around too. Now, this is class style, so what you can do is grab that PDF, get all your supplies gathered, and you can work right along with me. I even walk you through as I'm doing my prep work in this video, so I hope you'll enjoy this. I just was thinking it might be a great way for some of you who have never attended one of our classes to kind of feel what that's like. So that's what today's video is. So welcome to class. Let's get started. This is the album I'm going to use. This is a 49 Market Foundations 2-inch landscape album, okay? This is the very same one that I showed you a moment ago, but this one is black and that one was white is our starting point. This is not the mixed up album, okay? So 49 Market also has a mixed up option, and that just gives you some extra flips and flaps. This one is very simple and plain, and I'm doing that on purpose because I want this to be quick, easy, and something you can do. Okay, so if you pick up one of these, we'll have them linked below. For those of you who don't know, and you would be surprised how many don't, we have a craft store. I work for Maymay Made It. That's where Maymay comes from. Our craft store is maymaymadeit.com. It is always linked in the description, and you can pick up one of these at our store. Okay, the other thing you're going to need, and I've made a supply list for you. You're going to need a pack of 12 by 12 cardstock. You can do this with 6 by 8, but there are some places you'd have to make some edits. So if you have a 6 by 8 paper pack, yes, you can make it happen, but I'm going to use 12 by 12 today, okay? 6 by 6 is smaller than you need, but again, if you make some edits, you can make it happen. So I've got a 12 by 12, and like I told you, I'm doing Christmas. This is new from Cartabella called Christmas Village in Love. The other thing you definitely want to make happen, what I did, is an ephemera pack. So this is the coordinating ephemera pack that goes with this paper. Now, this is, for me, a must-have because I make this thing very easy with this, okay? There's no extra work. However, you can use the stickers in your paper pack, and I'll show you that when we get to it. Optional things, okay? This paper pack, we brought in the coordinating solid packs too. Some of these colors were a little unusual. This green's a little unusual, and I like to bring in the coordinating packs when the colors are not something I have in my stash. So I'm probably going to use this today for my photo matting. This is optional. You can just go to some solid colors in your stash and use those, okay? Then another option, which I probably won't use today, but it is this chipboard stickers. They're beautiful and they work really well with these albums, but I'm going to stick to super duper easy. So this and my coordinating paper. Okay, so now let's move this aside. I want to talk to you a bit about the PDF. Okay, so we're going to bring in Pinky. This is Pinky Tuscadero, by the way, so she's going to help us out. So one 12 by 12 designer pack. You need the coordinating paper. It doesn't have to be that one, just what you've got in your stash. Stickers or ephemera. Because I want this one to be easy, I'm doing ephemera. You're going to need the place photo here stamp set of your choice. Okay, I'll show you the one I'm using. I'll be using our newest one called Christmas place photo here. I think this is going to be adorable in this album, and it'll work perfect. But you just use whatever you've got. If you just have insert photo or place photo here, that's perfectly enough. But I'm going to get fancy today because I think this is cute. Wet glue or a tape runner, either one. Trimmer, scissors, ruler. Very easy. Now, the way I've done my PDF for you, and I want to go over this with you to make it really easy, is this. So I've broken the PDF down by sections, and you can see we're going to start with the cover and page cuts. So these italicized sections are kind of the area you're working in, okay? So this says decorative cardstock for pages. That is going to be this cardstock that you see, the one that covers our pages, okay? So what you'll need to do is go through your paper pack, cut 12 8 by 6, and you see that little circle right there? That's so you can check it off after you've done it. We'll go through every single section and we'll do just that, okay? And I'm going to do that with you, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it here, but I wanted to show you how I made the little places where you can check everything off. Also, and we'll talk about this as we get going, do you see that I have alternate? There are other options besides this two-tone front, and I wanted to give you both of the options, okay? So you can choose it when you like, and then you just complete everything on the back, and I've got some tips for you in there. All right, so free PDF is in the description. You can print that out. Let's get started with our album. I know this is a different kind of video than I usually do, but you guys have been asking for me to kind of take you along as I work. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, and also making this just a super easy process for you. All right, I'm going to remove the cover. I won't need that. So we're going to start with our PDF. And the first thing I have here to cut is my decorative cardstock for my pages. I need 12 8x6 pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the paper pack, and we want to first pull out what we don't want to lean to first, okay? And for me, that's cut aparts. I don't want to use those first. I like to run through and pull those out and just keep my solids. These aren't solids, you know what I mean. Here. All right, I've removed all my cut aparts. These pages are the ones I can start to work with. Now let's go back here, okay? I want to work on my cover, and this is where you have to make some decisions. This album I did here is the two-tone cover, and I want you to look here. Do you see I have the alternate two-tone cover option and the alternate two-tone spine option? These are the cuts I'm going to make. If you wanted to use solid color here, meaning you wouldn't have a floral at the top and a pattern at the bottom, you just have one piece, then you would use this first, the solid outside covers, and that's the only one there. Solid outside covers, that gets you your covers and your spine in one instruction. I'm going to go down here, okay? And I'm going to start here for mine. Let me tell you why. I like to start with the cover so I don't accidentally use my paper somewhere else. So let's pick from here, from our paper, what's going to be our cover, okay? So I've got a plan for this, and it's not the cover. I know you're surprised. I'll show you the one I think would be a gorgeous cover on this album. This piece here with this floral is my favorite, and I think I want that to be my cover. So I'm going to sit this aside, okay? I'm not going to deal with it yet. I'm just going to sit it aside. Now I'm going to go through what's left and pick what's going to cover my pages, which is this first one right here, okay? That's kind of the lion's share of the work I need to do as far as the cutting for the book, so I want to start there. All right, we're safe. Our cover page is away. I like this Santa. I don't love this creamy color on the back, so I'm going to let this one wait. I might not need it, okay? Now, because these are 12 by 12 cardstocks and I need two pieces that are 6 inches high, I can get 2 pages from one 12 by 12, okay? So that's why I'm looking at the front and the backs to see that I like them. So this snow globe is adorable. This is really cute. I know I can use front and back of that. I love the stockings. I love the green. I can use front and back of that. So that gets me 4. This Santa is adorable, and I know I love this green on the back, so that gets me 6. The little, of course, the postage box is right, plus the red. That gets me 8. The ornaments are great. Love this red on the back. That gets me 10. And now this one is going to be 12, and I'll show you where we're going to put it. So it leaves me with this sheet to put aside that I can use somewhere else if I need it. This won't always happen, but because I love this piece and I know where I want to use it, I'm going to go ahead and cut it first. So I think this would be so pretty on the inside covers of the album, okay? So I want to decide where I'm going to cut it. I think it's going to work. Let me look what 6 inches looks like. I kind of have to do 6 inches, don't I? So I'm going to cut this apart at 6 inches. The reason I say that is because I need it to be 6 inches. So here's one side of the album. Adorable. Then I'm going to come down here and cut this one at 6 inches. And I am cutting it at 6 because I want to be sure that I'm cutting the entire decorator strip away, okay? Now I can cut this at 8. Now here I have options, all right? If I want this to show in my album, I need to just measure it from here. So this would be what it looks like. If I want this to show in my album, then I want to turn it and measure it from here so I don't lose this. And I really like that little part bench. I think that's the one I'm going to keep. So now this can go in the back of my album. Won't that be cute inside the cover? I think that'll be adorable. And then this one, decide what we want. I definitely want to keep Santa. So I'm going to turn this around, measure to 8, and Santa stays in. I love how that little church is peeking in the corner. I don't know if that's a church, but it's a little like cottage. It looks like a church. So cute with Santa in the top, right? All right, so there's my inside covers, cut and ready. Save these pieces. I'll show you another place you can use these coming up soon. Now for my other pieces, I happen to know that my trimmer can cut cardapella paper 2 pages thick. You might have a paper or a trimmer that can cut more than that at a time, so consider doing that. But I've stacked up two 12 by 12s, and I'm going to cut this one to 6, so I'm getting 2 cuts at one time. So I've cut both of those to 6, okay? Now I'm going to take this guy, put him at 6 inches, and cut 2 more. Now, you can do this now or later. Let's go ahead and cut the 8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut each page, each one I have at a time. So put these aside, got these cut to 8, and I'm going to cut these to 8. Okay, so here's what we got. We got 2 of this one, 2 of the ornament page cut to 6 by 8, 2 of the mailboxes cut to 6 by 8. Now here's what I want to do. I want to take an ornament page and an ornament page. I want to flip one over and stack them up, okay? So now I have the A side and the B side. I want to do the same thing here. A on top of B, and then I'm going to stack these up. That way, I can glue them in the book with a front and back, and I won't accidentally get 2 A's or 2 B's, which is not the end of the world if you do, but it's just a good way to stack them. So I'm just going to put those on my work surface and keep going. Let's do 2 more. All right, so 2 sheets of 12 by 12 stacked up. Put into my trimmer. I'm going to cut 2 6 by 12 inch strips. Another 6 by 12 inch strip. And then these I'll cut down to 8. A and B, right? So I'm going to flip this one over to the B side, stack them up, put them with my other cardstock. A and B, stack them up, put them with my other cardstock. And I'm going to finish out the pages that I selected to be page covers. Now really quick, let's do some counting to see where we're at. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there's my 12 6 by 8 pieces, and now I can check this off. So that's one done. So I was doing all that big talk about needing 12. I actually need 14. I forgot. Your cover insides are a separate check, a separate place to check off. Can't even read my own PDF. So I'm going to put these aside, and I am going to take this page that I didn't love, and cut 2 more out of this to get me 12 of these guys, okay? So let me do that real quick. So now I'm good. So now I have, let's go to our PDF so you can see this. I'm just rocking right along thinking I'm reading my own PDF, right? And I'm not. So your 12 8 by 6s are these guys, and these are just for pages, okay? And then your 2 that say 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, or see the note to save cardstock here, cut these to 6 by 8, and I'm going to show you that as we prep it. I'm going to do mine 6 by 8. That's why I had it in my head that I was getting them done in that first cut, but I wasn't. So it's good that I made that mistake, so you'll pay attention too. You can do 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, but with these 12 by 12 paper packs, we kind of don't have enough cardstock to do that, because the way I'm cutting these, I'm getting 2 sheets from one piece of 12 by 12, and this would require me to use 2 pieces of 12 by 12s to get those measures, okay? So that's why I'm doing it this way. So what you have here is 12 6 by 8 and 2 more 6 by 8, and when I put them in the book, you'll see how they look good. They work anyway. All right, so stack all these guys up and move them out of the way. Now let's talk about the outside cover, okay? I'm not going to be using this option, which is the solid option. Again, I want to save cardstock, so I'm making this work with one 12 by 12, okay? If you have extra cardstock or you want to use some of your cut-aparts, you can do that solid option. For me, we're going to come down here. What I'm going to be doing here is cutting some strips that I can use to cover the front of my book without too much hassle, okay? So I'm going to do the cuts, and then it'll make sense. We're going to need, our first cut is 2 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 8 1/4. So here's what I did and how I'm going to do this. With this 12 by 12 cardstock, I'm going to turn it sideways. See how my decorator strip is here at the bottom? And I'm going to cut 2 3 3/4 strips. So I'm going to start here. There's 1 3 3/4, and 1 more 3 3/4, and put that aside. So those are going to be the top parts of my cover. Now this same cardstock, still using the same one, I'm going to pull this guy out and I'm going to turn him over, okay? From this strip, I want to harvest 2 pieces. I want 2 pieces that are 2 inches. So I'm going to cut one that's 2 inches by the whole width of the page, and another that's 2 inches by the whole width of the page, so 2 by 12. Now this is going to allow me to get what I need to make this work, okay? So these 2 pieces that are 2 inches, I need to do another cut, which is called a subcut. So we're going to subcut these down to 8 1/4. I'm just going to show you real quick what that is, okay? That is this bottom section. I want that to make sense. Very good, it does to me. All right, and then don't get rid of this. We're going to need that in a second. Then these 2 pieces, I'm going to subcut to 8 1/4. Don't get rid of that. We're going to need it. This now becomes the top section, okay? So I can put that one aside. From here, we just need to do another cut. These are already the height we need them to be. I'm going to take one of these. I don't need both, so I can put one aside in my scraps. I just need one of each one to do my spine. And the spine, I'll bring this over, we're going to cut it to 1 7/8 wide. That is 1/8 of an inch before 2. So I'm going to cut that. That'll be my spine top. And right here, 1 7/8, 1/8 of an inch before 2. Spine bottom. Now let me show you. I told you I was saving cardstock, right? And I want this to make sense here. Matter of fact, I think I'll turn this over so it doesn't have a cut apart showing. So here's how we're saving cardstock, okay? We are putting our floral piece at the top, and we're going to put our B side at the bottom, okay? But we need that strip of cardstock right here. I wasn't able to get that from that whole piece of paper. Yes, we could get a little bit, but it would be the same color as both of these because that's left over. But we're going to have to harvest this from another piece, okay? So this is what I did to be able to use one piece of cardstock to get this front and back. And the same on the front sides of this whole thing. That's how we're going to do it. So let me put all these pieces back over here, and we're going to go get that strip. Let me show you my plans for getting that strip, okay? Now that I know what my front cover is going to look like, I'm going to pick the cut apart that's going on the front of it. I love this one for the front. I think it'd be so pretty. This Marion Bright is really cute. And you know, I used a 4x6 that went landscape on the front of mine. So that's what I'm looking for here. Oh, look at this one. Wishing you a very jolly holiday. That one feels like a greeting card, so I'm not going to use that one here. And these are too small. All right, I've got to choose from these 2. Considering how much floral I have on the front, we're going to go with this guy. So I'm going to harvest this cut apart out of here. There's a method to my madness, I promise. Now this I can put with my covers that I've already cut. Now we can cut that strip we need. If the cut apart page I just cut had this color we needed on the back to be a strip, I could use it, but it doesn't. This is too busy. So I've got to look at one of these guys and figure out which one can be my strip. That one's too busy. That one's okay, but it's a little too busy. But this one is going to work perfectly to be my little strip on the cover. But here's what we want to do. We want to look on the back, and we want to see which of these we would prefer to keep, okay? I'm feeling like I could use this because let me show you why I want to choose it. Merry Everything and Happy Always, that's cute, but I really prefer Merry Christmas. And then the plain ones here that I have to dress up to be something else anyway, I'm not worried about those. And Santa Claus is coming to town. To me, I'd rather have Season's Greetings and Merry Christmas because that's what I would say more than Santa Claus is coming to town. So I'm going to harvest my strips from the top of this cut apart. I hope that makes sense, and I think it does. We still need these strips, okay? So we need 2 strips that are 1/2 of an inch by 12 inches. So we've got one there and one here. Now let me show you something else before you get too sad about the cut aparts. This cut apart is still usable. This cut apart is still usable. It just won't be 3x4. And of course you can still use these because you can fussy cut Santa. You can do whatever you want to do here, but that's how I harvested mine. I'm not sad about cutting into those cut aparts. Now, if I wanted to use these to get my strip from, if these were my least favorite cut aparts, just cut the page apart, get them out, and grab your 1/2 inches from the top, whichever way you need to do that. Also, let me say this. I'm trying to keep this where you only have to have the one 12x12 paper pack, right? If you have coordinating paper in your stash, You can just use a coordinating paper. You could use something buffalo check or gingham or solid, whatever you want to use here. All right, let's cut these down to 8 1/4. And these measures are all in your PDF. And then this to 8 1/4. Now, you guessed it, one of these guys, I got to make my spine piece, right? So we need to cut it to 1 7/8. Are those measures all making sense? Let me show you what we just created. So this will be the front of my album, the spine, and the back. This little guy is going to live here, but I'm going to cut one more piece to go around him, and you'll see that when we get to it. So this is what we've created. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's really pretty, so it works out well to harvest our paper in that manner because you can use all these pages to your advantage. Now, one thing to think about, and I want to show you on my first album. I've been pretty fortunate, and you probably can be too, but you see how this is a stripe and that's a polka dot? That's so easy for me because my stripes went in the same direction, right? If you have a pattern that's a problem, you shouldn't, by the way we're harvesting them because we're cutting straight cuts, do pay attention to your patterns, okay? Just make sure that you're able to use this and this on the same piece. But because of the way we're harvesting them from the pages like this, you should be fine. Okay, next step. Let's check off everything we just did. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to be doing this one, so I'm just going to check that away, okay? So let me go here. Alternate two-tone covers. So I just got my tops, my middles, and my strips. So we got that, okay? I did my spine as well, so I can check that one off also. Now, let's come back to this little guy right here. I haven't got him done. This is my inside decorator strips for the spine. Let me show you what that is. That is actually these little strips here. They really add a touch to your project. If you don't put these here, this is just solid white, and I like to have that little bit of color. So let me show you where I got mine from. Remember these pieces I told you not to get rid of because we could use these too? This is where we're going to get them. What I do is I go through and I pick out 4 colors that I really like. Remember, this paper pack was made to match itself, okay? So they're all going to work together. So I'm going to grab that. Those are going to be the colors I put in the middle, okay? These are already 6 inches tall, which is the height that I need. I just need to cut a strip from them that is 3/8 of an inch. So get my trimmer out. I'm going to cut 2 at a time because Cardabella is kind of thick. So we'll put this into my trimmer on 3/8 of an inch and slice. So there's 2 that I need. Put these aside in your scrap pile. Let's get 2 more from these. Perfect. Put those on your pile to work, and this goes into your scrap pile. Now, let's mark that off. We did it. We got 4 of them. We're ready to go. All right, next page. Okay, let's talk photo mats. You have your coordinating color option, and you have your alternate one color option. Let me show you what that means. This piece is a 4x6 piece of cardstock, and I'm going to be stamping on it, place photo here, okay? Behind it, I'm going to add a decorator or solid color piece. It doesn't have to be perfectly solid, but pretty solid. This piece is going to allow my photos to pop off the page, okay? I'm certainly not using orange. This is just an example for you guys, okay? So this is a 2-color. See how I have coordinating color option? That's what this is, coordinating color option. And that's what I did here. Look how it pops off the page. And when you place a photo here, it makes your photo pop, okay? I like the way this looks because I like the 2-tone when I'm giving this as a gift. Although when they glue in a 4x6 photo, this is going to get completely covered up. But I like it that way. So you can decide if you would prefer to do it the other way. And let me show you how the other way is. This piece is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Just like this one was, just like our mat here that we added this white on top of, okay? If you want to do this method, you would cut the cardstock to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 and stamp the middle of it, okay? Then when they center a 4 by 6 photo here, they're still going to get that matte. It works the same with the orange. If I stamped on the orange, they'd still get that matte, but you wouldn't have to cut double the cardstock, okay? You can choose which one works for you. I personally like the look of the 2 colors because I think it makes the album bright when the person receives it. And for some reason, for me, especially if I'm giving this to somebody who doesn't do albums, it just makes sense to place the photo there, right? But you do you on this one. And for me, what I'm going to do is the first option, the coordinating color. So that means here's what I need. I need 14 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 solid coordinating cardstocks for behind the photo mats. And then I need 14 4 by 6 photo mats. If you're doing this with the second option, which is the one color option, you just need 14 4 1/4. Got a typo, got to fix that. 4 1/4 by, I got 2 typos, you guys. I'll fix it before you get it. But 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. It's real life around here, y'all. Okay, so let's get those cut. I'm going to dig into this cardstock and go as far as I can go with it. This is the coordinating pack. And if I need to add any more, I can. This part of the project does use a lot of cardstock. The reason it does is because we're cutting 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. You're not doing 4 by 6. If we were doing 4 by 6, we could cut this evenly and get a bunch. I think we can get, let me think, 6 out of 1 sheet. Don't quote me. I don't do math unless I'm right, and then quote me. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, now we're going to cut to 6 1/4 here. Now, I know having this much of an offcut is going to bother you or bother some of you. It doesn't bother me, but let me show you why. With all of these leftovers that I have, I can create Christmas cards, okay? These pieces here end up being 5 3/4 by 4 1/4, which is perfect to be the background of cards and to use on card making. So I'm not sad about that. So I'm going to keep going and harvest as many as I can of my 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 background mats. So I was able to get 12 from that coordinating cardstock pack. So I just need 2 more. So we already have these offcuts that are 4 1/4 tall, okay? We need them to be 6 1/4 wide. If we take 6 1/4 and we half it, that gives us 3 1/8. So watch this. If I take this piece here and I cut it in half at 3 1/8, it's not really half. I cut 3 1/8 off. Then I take this one and I cut 3 1/8 off. Look what you can do. Now, obviously, you could butt this up side by side and it gives you the same look. And there's a tiny line up there. And by the time you put your photo mat on here, you're not going to see it. Or you can flip one over like so, put your photo mat on it, your place photo here mat, and then you get that cool two-tone effect. So I love that as well. So that's another way to save some cardstock. So I'm going to do that a couple times. So that one, and then I'll do another color. I really love this red that has this minty green on the back. So 3 1/8, 3 1/8. And honestly, when you see this go into the book, you might even want to do them all this way. It'll be really, really cute. All right, so we've got our photo mats cut. Let's put those aside. Now, those are our photo background mats. For your photo mats, here's what I want to challenge you to do. Go to your scrap box, your white cardstock scrap bin, or your scrap, whatever you do with your white scraps. Try to get as many as you can from there. This is such a good way to use up your scrap bin. Try to get 14 4 by 6 pieces from your scrap bin. So start there. If you can't get it from there, go ahead and harvest it from some other cardstock. I like to use some of my cardstock that's not my super thick or my super really expensive cardstock here. So use your least expensive cardstock for this. It's going to get covered up in the end. So let's go back to our PDF and let's mark these off. So I have my 14 photo mats in the color and I have my 14 photo mats that are just white. Okay. We already did our front cover cut apart, which is the 4 by 6, because I can mark that off because we got that from the cut apart. But now we need one coordinating piece that's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Now I got to tell y'all, I really like that two-tone idea, and I think I'm going to harvest another one of those to do it with. So let's see what colors we've got. I think this color is pretty, and this is my cut apart. So I love that mint color on it, but this color is a little too dark, so I'm not going to use that one. It's a little too matchy-matchy. Let's get a different one. I could do gold back there. I'm not sure how they'll look on the flowers. I might bring the flowers over and look. So if this had a two-tone mat to save cardstock, I think that would be pretty. It would go like that. So it'd be gold on one side, green on the other. I'm going to go with that. I think that'll be pretty. And I'm not going to have to harvest or go find cardstock. I can just use these two. So I need to cut these down to 3 1/8. They're already the right height. And I might even decide to pull one of the other ones I already cut and use it on the front and use this on the inside. When we go to play, we'll see which ones we like. Okay, all of my cuts are done. Let's look at these little bonus things I've got here for you. All right, I've got my ephemera and stickers and I've got my photo mats to stamp. This is telling me I need to stamp them. I haven't got that done yet, but we will. Now this optional section here means this. If you're going to be adding photos to this album for someone, you don't need the stamped photo mats. You just need the background mat. So that's what that optional is. And here's a bonus tip, and we've already done it. To save cardstock, consider using scraps to cover your pages. Gluing scraps together adds interest to the page behind a photo. So we've already done that, and we are good. So I've gotten everything I need except my stamping done. So here's what I like to do. I like to do all my outside assembly before I put it in the book. So we're going to stamp next. Okay, it's time for stamping. And what I'm going to do to make this easy for me is I'm going to load multiple stamps and words onto one platform. And this is what's really cool. What Sylvia did for us with this stamp set, which I think is great, is if you'll notice you've got place photo here, insert photo here, place, insert, place. You have all these different words that you can use all at the same time, which makes this really easy to load up a bunch. Okay, all right, let me open this up and get us started. So this is my stamp wheel. This is the 2.0. It's the larger one. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start in this corner up here, okay? And I'm going to go to my stamp set, and I'm going to peel away the one I want. I really like this little Santa Claus in the top corner. He's so cute. I'm going to put him in the middle here. You don't have to put him in the middle. Remember, when they put the 4x6 photo in, this is going to get covered completely. But if someone were to decide not to put 4x6 and put a different size there, it's probably best to keep it close to the middle, or maybe something like this, but not too far off. But I'm going to go to the middle area like that, and then I'm going to pick this guy up with my wheel platform. I keep that little circle at the top. That's where I know where the top is. Press that down and pick this up. Then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this so I have a reference. You see I already inked up Santa. I'm going to be using 3 colors of ink. I've got this color from Archival Ink, which is Fired Brick, this color, which is Rainforest, and then I'm going to use black also for the 3 colors. I didn't have a color in this one that exactly matched. My red didn't match exact, so that's why I'm mixing them up. Doesn't matter. As long as we got ink, we're good. All right, I'm going to press this down. And there's our little guy. I'm going to do him one more time. This is a fresh, brand new stamp set, and he's not quite as crisp as I want him to be, and that's why I love using a positioner. So let's do him again. So this time I'm going to use my impressible. That'll also help me get impressed in there good. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, leaving this on here like this, I'm going to go to my stamp set and decide what I want to put in there. I really like that simple place photo here. So I'm going to put that inside. And a little tip for you, if you struggle placing your stamps and they stick to your finger, they typically don't stick to erasers, so you can use an eraser to kind of scooch them into place. Now this is what I do, and you can do this ever how you want. You can drive this in any way you want to, but what I typically do, if that is my top, then when I do my second stamp, I like for it to be on the side. So then I'll place this in the top so that that circle is to the right-hand side, pick up that stamp, and then I can ink it right where it is. So let's do it with some red. This red might be a little bit oranger than I really wanted, but I think it's going to work. So all you have to do here is just pay attention. You have your little circle over here that you can reference, but you can also see where you're stamping. So that makes things pretty easy too. Press that down. Oh, he needs to be double stamped too, so let's do that. Brand new stamps. I just took these off the page. If you have never used stamps before and you're like, why aren't they stamping crisp? A lot of times, they need to be seasoned. So photopolymer, which is what these stamps are made of, is a porous product, and it just kind of needs to have like a primer. So you just ink it a few times and then it'll work great. Look at that, so cute. All right, so that gets me one setup, so I can do this one multiple times. Then what I did for myself, I'm gonna pull this one away because he's ready. Now with this same platform, I'm gonna set up another one. So put a piece of cardstock in. Gonna pick another one. I really like the snow globe. I think it'll be cute with this little set we're doing because of the little village. So I'm gonna put the snow globe here. Can't you see how you can use this for so many things that is not place photo here? They're super cute for that. Now, you might be like, why did y'all leave that solid so we couldn't just put place photo in at the same time? When you have small images like this, if you cut that section out in the middle, you have a hard time getting that circle to be circle next time, or getting your square to be a square. So we have to keep that piece in there to keep our shape for our stamps. That's why we have to kind of double stamp this, but it's not a big deal. All right, so you see we had this guy set, this guy set. Now I'm going to turn it again. This time my circle, my open circle, is at the bottom, and I can line this up here and pick up my snow globe. And I'll be able to load 2 different sets on one stamp wheel. So I'll go ahead and stamp that. And again, you can see here, you can see what you're doing. So just think of it as a big old block and don't worry too much about the wheel itself. Just look right through it. So now we can put a place photo here. And I'm just using insert photo. I know it's not the same as place, but it works for me. So we're just going to use that and keep going. That one's not quite centered. There we go. Still may not be perfect, but he'll get the job done. Let's do green this time. Now you can also do this without any sort of platform or anything like that. You can just put these onto blocks and stamp them. And lots of times I do that because I find sometimes that's even quicker. But I have a lot that I need to do today, you know, stamping all these little inserts. So this will help me. And we have 14 inserts, right? That's what we have. So if I can get 2 loaded up on this platform, I also have more of these stamp wheels, so I'll load them the same way, like this. And then I can get a lot done at a time, and I'll do multiples of the same design. So for example, I did one of this one, and I did one of this one, but before I leave, I'll go ahead and do 2 more, or more, it's up to you, but I definitely want to do 2 of each design. So I'm just going to go stamp all of my little place photo here's. While I'm here, I want to show you something else. So this tool that I'm holding in my hand is called the Ink Bandit. What I like this for, I actually designed this one, and my buddy Clack makes these for us in our store. And they come wood, but you can decorate them like I did mine. What I like these for is this is rubber bands. And when I'm doing multi-inking, like I'm going to use this black a lot, I can open this up one time, float it on my Ink Bandit like that, sit my Ink Bandit to the side, and I can just pick up and keep going. This guy makes mass stamping so easy. Now, if I'm using black and I put black on my rubber bands, that ink does not dry on the rubber bands. And the reason it's rubber bands and not like a string is because string would pull ink out of your ink pad, and we don't want to do that. So you might want multiples to have multiple colors, or maybe a dark and a light option. So you can see I can take the ink to my stamp and then sit it back onto the Bandit. And it's so much less kind of wrist work than putting the lid back on that ink every time. You don't want to leave this overnight or anything. A lot of people ask me, how does it keep the ink from drying out? I'm only going to be using this, you know, during this process. So if it's open for 30, 45 minutes, it's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want to leave it open like this for an extended period of time. So now I have all of that done, and then I'm just going to load the little stamp that says 4x6 onto a single block, and I'll run through, and you can put it up here, over here, over here, wherever you want to. I'm just going to run through and put the measurement in just like that on every single one of them. And I'll find a different place kind of on every one. Now, some of the sentiments on that set are made where you can literally stamp this as part of the sentence, but I didn't do this one that way. I just kind of stamped in the middles like this. I thought that was cute, and I think this works really well. Now, one of my favorite tips for you after you have been inking, you can see there's ink on my hands all over the place. Take some hand sanitizer. Go ahead and clean your hands as soon as you're through with all of your stamping. You may have to do this while you're stamping. I do have a tendency to get ink all over myself, but if you go ahead and clean this now, you won't have ink anywhere else on your project. You can just go to the sink and wash your hands, but some of us, number 1, are addicted to hand sanitizer. That's me. And number 2, like to keep working. So clean hands and we can move on. The next step for us is to mat our photo mats. Okay, so I'm gonna start with one. I'll move those out of the way. And these are all the mats that we cut. You remember we had these 2-tone ones like this? This is where I'm gonna use these, okay? I'm gonna place this like this and get it lined up pretty even. Then I'm gonna grab some tape. It can be washi, it can be whatever you have handy, because you're not gonna see this. And I'm using this teeny tiny little scrap. I'm going to lay this here and place it right in the center. That is just to hold that still for me so I can glue this guy on top. It'll go away and it won't ever be seen. So taking a photo mat, I'm going to apply glue. Then we're going to float this on our colored piece underneath, and you'll get this 2-tone effect, which is really pretty. Isn't that neat? I like it. You might want to do that more than I did. I only did a few of them, but isn't that gorgeous? So there's the 2-tone. Let's do a single. This dark green is really pretty. I don't have to do anything but glue this guy down. And I'm going to run through and mat all of my photo mats just like this. One more little bit of prep work. Now you might remember that I had planned to do a 2-tone situation behind my cut apart for the front, But I got to looking, and this gold piece is going to really make this pop on the front, so I made an edit. I just used that double piece on the photo mats on the inside, and I'm going to do gold on the outside. And you might decide to do that too. You might do all this prep work and then look at something and go, you know, that lays better here or fits better there. That is common, very common when you start to build something, put something together. You're like, that was a good idea I had, but I like this one better. All right, you guys, we have done all the prep work. Now all we have to do is glue this in and our album is done. And you might be wondering, how long is this taken? All this prep, all total, and I've been filming at the same time, it's taken me about 2 hours, and I've done it over 2 days. I did about an hour and 15 minutes yesterday, and I've done about 45 minutes this morning. So now it's time to load up our album, and at the end, I'll tell you kind of roughly how long it takes to do. So let's open up our album. I'm just going to slice into that plastic and pull that away. When you open your album, you're going to have this piece that is packaging to keep it safe whenever it's being shipped to you. You don't have to use this, but you can. There's got to be something we can use this for, right? Okay, so let me show you about this album, a trick I want you to learn. When you open this album and you lay it like this, do you see how the pages don't lay flat and our spine does not go flat? Okay, if I flip this guy over and I open him like this, everything lays nice and flat. This is what I call the opening, okay, the front of the album. If you do it the other way, it just gives you more resistance. And this way, when the recipient gets it in their opening, it'll lay flat and it makes sense. Now, one more edit you might want to make. These pages are really close, okay? Whenever I lift this, I get a little pushback. That's just the flip pages. What I'm going to do is run through and I'm going to cut a sliver off of the end of all 3 of those signatures, okay? And I'll explain what a signature is in just a second. So I'm going to put this into my trimmer. And I think I'm going to cut a little more than a 1/16 of an inch. Not much more. I'll show you this. It's not quite an 1/8 and a little more than a 1/16, okay? I don't want to edit my pages too awful much that are going to go in here. But let me show you the difference with that little sliver off. Now that page opens much flatter and square like that, and that's what I'm looking for. It'll also lay back a little flatter, and it just does better for the album, especially as we go to fill it up. All right, so I told you I'd tell you what a signature is before I trim. Each of these is a signature. There are 3 in here. That's what that's called. Whenever they attach to the spine in some way, that's your signature. So let's run through and trim all 3 of these pages. Okay, now you can start where you like. You can start on the outside, you can start on the inside. I like to cover my pages because I already know where everything's going. So I'm going to get myself kind of established here and grab the pieces I cut for the pages. And if you remember, I had these 2 pieces that I was in love with. I want these to live inside my covers. So this is where they're going to go. And while we're here, I want to talk to you about this. Do you see how large that mat is there? This is where I was telling you, this is how I save paper. Technically, this piece should have been 6 1/4 by 8 1/4 based on how I matted these pages, leaving an 1/8 of an inch mat. But because I wanted to save cardstock, I went ahead and cut these the same size as I did the pages. So this one's going to have a little bit larger matte border, but I'm not worried about that. The other cool thing is, and I'll show you how this works as well, when you place a page here, because we cut them the same height, you'll be able to see here that they line up, and it seems to make sense because you still see that same border. Now, I do want to show you this. Do you see how this one is super close to the edge on this side and here because we trimmed that away? I think I will trim these a little bit as well just to make it work. So every page that's going to live on this flap, I will trim down just a tiny bit, only because I trimmed this page. If you don't have to trim this page, and some albums I don't have to, sometimes just depend on how they're folded, I don't have to, you won't need to trim either. But if you need to, go ahead. I'm going to because I like the look of it, so I'll hold these for the end. So let's open up and we'll start in here. We'll glue this first page down. I know it's going on the inside cover. I'm going to close everything down and do the back as well because I know what pages go in there. Now to the inside middle, I'm going to glue this guy here, just like this. To the back, I think I'll do this piece. It wasn't my favorite color, so putting on the back side will be a good idea. And then I'm using the other side of this Santa. Now this is a spot where I'm going to be trimming, and I'm going to pay attention. This page will be super cute next to this one, so I want to make sure this is the one that goes here. So I think as I'm building, it's better for me to trim and glue as I go, and then I know I get all my pages where I want them. So I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to trim 1/8 of an inch and then glue him into place. And you'll see here, you just get a little prettier border on the edges when you do that. So I have this one done, the outside, and now this one needs to be trimmed as well. Let's decide which one is going there. I really think this green is pretty next to this Santa. So there's the inside, the front, and I already covered the back. But go ahead and run through your album and cover your signatures in that same method. So let's do a little walkthrough of where we're at. Okay, so here we are. We've got the inside cover done. I have my signatures all covered, and I want to show you something. I've heard from my students over the years that this is what they struggle with, is where to place the papers, which papers to use. I want to show you this. See this page? Look at that. I chose to do that. I like the snow globe, so I used it twice, right? See this? I used the plaid twice as well. I love that. It's going to be beautiful. And I wanted to show you that because I don't want you to overthink the placement of these papers, because by the time this album is done, that's not going to be the focal point, okay? All right, now you can decide where you want to go next. I want to do the cover because I love it, and it's a lot of fun for me. And I want to show you this. These are some little tools that I made for myself. So this is just some yellow tape that I stuck down to my work surface and did a 1/8 of an inch line, and on the other side I did a 1/4 inch line. You see that? I'm going to use this to help me line up my front mats. Here's why. Because I'm using pieces of mats. If I were using solid pieces, I would not even think about this. This would not be an issue. But because I need to make sure my pieces are going to fit and line up correctly, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And all you do is you place the tape where the line is even, and you even don't have to go to the edge. Let me show you. Where the little line is even with the edge of the album. So you can see here, I'm just lining it up so that my pencil mark on my tape lines up with the edge of my album. So this lets me know that that's 1/8 of an inch away, which is what I'm looking for. Now I have 2 of these because I have a big one and a little one. And this yellow tape is not going to damage your project, especially as many times as I have used these. This guy, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up the pen or pencil line to the edge of my album and glue that in place. So now I know that's where I need to start my first piece. And let me show what I mean. If I take this piece and I line it up to the tape at the top and the tape at the bottom, I'm going to be 1/8 of an inch. And my pieces, we can go ahead and do a little dry run here. My pieces should all, because they're measured correctly, line up really well on my album. See how I have the right border here and the right border there? That's going to help me achieve that. So if you'd like to see a video on how I did these, we'll link that video for you guys in the iCard and also in the description, so you'll know exactly how I did those. All right, so I'm going to apply glue. Pay attention to your pattern here. Mine has candy canes in it, so I had to look and see which way was up, right? Know that you have it correct. All right, so there's my first piece placed. Then I'm going to place this strip in the middle, and I'm going to look at this. This strip felt a little long. No, he's not too bad. He might be a hair long. I'm going to trim him a tiny bit off the end, just because he felt like he was a little long. And that happens because we don't cut everything perfectly. Let's lay him in now and see if I like him better. Much better. He's more flush. So I'm going to glue him down. And then my bottom piece. And that is the front of my album. And I'm going to put these aside for now. Now, if you open this up and lay it out, you can use it as your guide the rest of the way. So I can place this guy here, and I can use this as my guide for where to place so that all my lines match up. Isn't that beautiful? I love how that lays out. And then we can now close this guy up. And while I'm on the front, let's go ahead and glue our cut apart down. And mine is going to go just like that. Isn't that beautiful? There's something to be said about a simple album, how crisp and clean and beautiful it is. But remember, At any point in time in this album, you can add your own personal touches. So if you wanted to add something before you put this guy down or around it, some brads or some bling or something like that, perfect place for it. Okay, now to the inside again. Remember these little strips that we cut? I think it's time we put these in. I think they always dress the album up. See how it's just a little dark in the center? This is just such a good way to dress this guy up. And you remember we had 2 greens and 2 reds, so we need to pay attention to where we place them. So what I'm gonna do is lay those there, and I think I'm gonna go green here. I love that plaid right there. And remember I told you that we were cutting these at 6 inches tall. We cut them off of those scraps. You'll see by doing that, our pages continue to line up. So place this here, and our decorator pages just continue to be that same size, even though it doesn't go all the way to the edge, or even closer to the edge than it does. All right, there's one. We'll flip over, put another one here. I'll put red in this one. Another one of my favorite tips is to use a cloth to rub things down. It'll pick up any excess glue that kind of seeps out where you don't want it. I'm gonna put my other green one here. And you might think I should have put that red one there, and I should have, except I want to put red on the next page, and since I already have these cut, I'm going to make this work here. There's my little green, and you'll see there's so much green here, I wanted to make sure there was red back here. Perfect. Okay, now the finishing touches. These guys, your photo mats, are going to get placed on every page. Now, I really love how this looks, and I don't want to cover it up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. My plan, and I wanted to make sure I did this so you could see it, my plan was to put one of our 2-tone pieces here on the front, and I still can. I didn't want to cover up Santa. If I put him down here in the bottom, you can still see Santa in the little house, but as it sits right now, I'm not putting anything here. If I put a photo here and I put a photo here, I can do 14 photos in this album. I'm gonna focus on these pages and just have 12 photos because I don't want to cover that up. I think it's too cute. And here's what I'm gonna do. Remember, this is a simple album. I'm gonna run through here and I'm gonna glue every one of my photo mats that I created to the center of the pages, okay? Now here's the thing. If you are more advanced and you want to make a more advanced album, these are places where you can add pockets, flips and flaps. You might want to put a binding strip here and have this lift up to be like another photo underneath. There are lots of other options. That is not what this class is. I do have a lot of album classes on my channel. We will link my playlist for you. So there's somewhere I have done very detailed albums. I've edited the albums to look and feel a different way. I've made them from scratch. We've made lots of different albums on the channel. So if you want to check those out, there's lots of videos for that. But this one is more about simplicity and more about getting projects made for the holidays. Look how cute this one will be right there. Love that. Do you notice how adding that bright pop of color behind the photo mat really pops off your busier pages? It does off of your not so busy pages too, but it looks really pretty to have that kind of border. Kind of draws the eye into the picture. Another thing I want to show you, I'm gonna get this one placed really quick. I want to show you this. If you're concerned about getting everything lined up perfectly, I'm pretty much an eyeballer. It's kind of how I do it. You can use one of your rulers, especially this Dress My Craft ruler. It's so incredible. And you can place it at the bottom of your project, and then you can use it to help you get your pieces lined up the same. So you put the ruler at the bottom at a certain measurement and then use that to help you. You could use yellow tape again, whatever you wanted to do. Like I said, I'm kind of an eyeballer, so that's what I do. All right, I'm going to go through this album and I'm going to place all of these little pieces on. I think that's cute right there. All the little photo mats on, and then we will get right back together for what literally is the very last thing we're going to do. Now for the finishing touches, our ephemera, and there is so much we can do with this, and this is so easy. Now, I told you, you do have stickers that you can use in your album that come in your paper pack. There's a reason I don't want to use stickers on this particular album. I am normally known for stickers. It's a thing I love to do, but you have to treat stickers to make them work in the way we're going to use these, and I'll talk about that when we get to that point. Now, the outside of your album might be where you want to start. I think this is so pretty to add a piece of ephemera here. So let's go through here and look. If you really want to save yourself some time and make this very enjoyable, go ahead and take a minute and lay some of your ephemera out so you can see it. Another thing you can do, and I do this a good bit, use the back sheet as a reference. You can look here and see everything that's in it and just find it into the little pile here. I'll tell you, I love that little image right there, which happens to be this one, and I want to show you what I think I'll do with it. So my ephemera's off to the side for now. We'll bring it back in as we need it. I'm going to open this guy up. Wouldn't this be cute right here for the side of our album? I just think that'll be so precious. So if you're thinking you're going to want to add some ephemera to the outside of your album, start there. You typically have about 30 pieces of ephemera in one of these Cardabella kits and Echo Park kits. In some of the other paper packs, you even get more than that. So you will have plenty to do what we're going to do today. So this now, whenever this is in a bookshelf, that'll be so cute. And you could create a label if you wanted to. So many things you can do. All right, now let's talk about this. So to dress these areas up, I like to take ephemera and add it to the page. So maybe I want to add this piece of ephemera here, okay? What we don't want to do is glue it down to this area. The reason we don't is because we want the photo to be able to slide underneath. So when we glue, we would glue here and then down the side, okay? I don't think I'm going to use this one. This feels a little bit greeting card to me, sending some holiday cheer your way. But to show you that, you just want to make sure you leave the photo space unglued or unpermanently attached, if that makes sense. So I'm going to look at some of my sentiments, some of my ephemera. I think this is a good piece to get us started, and look how cute this is. Another thing I like to do with the ephemera pieces, I want to show you. This is not the best example. Let me find another mat here. You can see it good here. See this mat at the bottom, our burgundy colored mat? When I place these pieces of ephemera, I like to butt them up against the white photo mat so that it lays over the burgundy. That makes it feel more like it's all built together and not stacked on top of each other. And I just think that's really pretty. I'm going to do that here. I just wanted you to be able to see it on this side. It's red and it was a little hard to see on camera. But all we're going to do with this one is glue it straight down. And the reason is it's not going to be over the photo. So I don't have to do anything with this but glue it into place. Again, button it up to the white photo mat. Trying to center it. You can eyeball center it or you can use a ruler and make sure it's perfect. Isn't that cute? So simple. Now just imagine when the photo is here with the sentiment, your scrapbook is already done, right? What a great gift. Okay, let's look at this page and see what we can add. I like this one that says traditions. Also, you can add them to the top and play around. You can put them on the side. It's cute to do that too. I'm going to put this one at the top. Button that up to my photo mat and gluing it down so that it overlaps. This one, I'm going to let it hang over. It says home for the holidays. I think that'd be cute if you had a photo for, the living room, or maybe everybody's cuddled around the Christmas tree or something like that. And let me show you a tip for this. I want this to be placed about like this, okay, so that it hangs over the photo and our decorator paper. When I pick this up, I want to pick this up where I don't want glue, okay? So what I'll do is I'll pick it up here with my hand like that, and when I turn it over, I know I can place glue right there, and it'll be where I want it. So halfway up, or not quite halfway, place my glue like this, leaving that a free edge, placing this in place, and now when the recipient goes to put their photo in, let me give you an example. Let's say this is a photo. They would slide it underneath and glue it down, and they can also glue this section down. And that is my process from here on out. I add ephemera to every photo mat in some way, and I just have a good time with it. Just play around. Like this one says, hello, Santa. Wouldn't this be adorable if they had a Santa picture? Let me see if I have a page with Santa on it. I feel like I did. This page, you could absolutely add this here at the bottom. Traditions is perfect for that too, because if you're like us, we have a tradition of getting pictures with Santa, and this would be great. So you see, I picked it up where I don't want glue, so I can know where to put my glue, and then put this guy right down here, leaving him open for a photo to sit inside. That will be perfect. And I have plenty of ephemera to do 2 per page, no problem. Or 2 per mini pages. When you have them like this, you can use this for stamping, for journaling. You could maybe write the date, the time, something that has to do with the photo on there is super cute, so consider using those as well. Another thing I like to do, and I can show you right here, is I like to sometimes cross over the corners of the pictures. And here you would just glue here and tack that down, and then the photo can still slide under. A lot of times in your ephemera, you'll get these little banner pieces, and it comes in a lot of different kind of ephemera packs, and you'll get multiples of them. I like to take them and use them kind of around the photo. This one's a little longer than what I'm wanting, so I'm going to trim it, just a little something like that, and then I can paste it there. Isn't that cute? And when the photo's there, it just kind of looks like it's underneath it. I think that's adorable, so I'll glue that one down. And again, butting it up to the photo mat layer so it feels like it's underneath the photo when the photo gets there. You have more of these. They're really cute. If you have a place that you think feels kind of plain, these darker colors might be a good spot. This one, you might like to put one here. That'd be cute. You can also put them out the side, which is really cute. Let's do that here. We'll put this one out the side. I'm going to trim it down. And I have plenty more ephemera I could add in other places, but this is what I'm going to call this album. Now, don't go anywhere. I have something else I want to introduce to you, and then we'll do a walkthrough of the whole thing. The other thing I have created for you is this. I think this will be really cool. Now, I just printed this on regular copy paper, but you'll be able to print this on cardstock if you'd like and add it into a greeting card or Christmas card that you're going to give with the album. So the two at the top, I want to show you this. This says, this handmade mini album was crafted with love and festive cheer. It's designed to hold 12 to 14 of your favorite 4x6 holiday photos. You can easily slide your photos under the decorative elements, and I've included placeholders to guide you on the perfect photo sizes. Additionally, I've added some extra decorative pieces and embellishments so you can personalize the pages even more. Wishing you a season full of warmth, love, and cherished memories. So this is one if you want to send extra pieces, or maybe your leftover ephemera. You could send the leftover ephemera. You could send them the stickers from your paper pack. You could package them really cute and put them in with the gift. This side is if you're not making it for Christmas. This one is just a special gift for you. It says basically the same thing, and then it also says, plus I've included some extra decorative pieces so you can customize the pages the way you like. So Christmas and not, additional pieces, additional pieces. These two don't talk about additional pieces. If you're not going to send extras, Merry Christmas. I hope this handmade mini album brings you as much joy as I had while creating it for you. This special album is designed to hold 12 to 14 of your favorite 4x6 photos. You'll notice little placeholders where you can slide your photos underneath the decorations, making it easy to customize. Just attach your photos in place and you're all set. And then wishing you down here. Then over here, it's not Christmas. So this album was made just for you. I created this mini album especially for you, and I hope it brings a smile to your face each time you look through it. It's made to hold 12 to 14 of your favorite 4x6 photos. You'll see little placeholders inside. These show you where your pictures can easily slide under the decorative layers. Just tuck your photos in and enjoy the transformation. Feel free to make it your own. Add touches, write little notes, and turn it into a collection of moments you'll love. So you can print these out, cut them apart. I did leave these lines so you'd be able to cut them apart easily, and then put them inside of a greeting card, put them in the album, what have you. And that way they kind of know what they're doing with the album. I think that'll be helpful. Also, I created this as a separate PDF because if you don't want to create this very album using the PDF I didn't want you to have to print that one out. So in the description of this video, there's two different PDFs, the card inserts and then the PDF for the album. All right, you guys, look at this. We have them. Look, two done, ready to go. Perfect gifts. Wouldn't you love to receive one of these at the holidays? I mean, seriously, at any time of year, somebody sends you this and you're just like, all I have to do is add photos to it and it's done. And how many times would you sit and look and enjoy this little album? And it is plain. It is, but I did that on purpose. I will tell you this. I think about my friends and family. They love what I do. However, they don't do it themselves, right? But a simple little album that just says, hey, print out 12 to 14 photos and glue them in here will feel so good to them to be able to complete that and have their little gift sitting on their coffee table or on a bookshelf for years to come. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this class style video. I know a lot of you have told me you've never taken one of my classes, and this one's similar. This is a pretty good example of a filmed class. It's not the same as a live class. They're done slightly different, but not too much different. And I hope you enjoy getting a kind of a sneak peek at one of our classes. Okay, so here's how this works. Once you've created one, I need to see it. Either two places you can go to, okay? Either my Facebook group, which is Maymay Made It, and so did I, or our website, maymaymadeit.com, and our customer gallery. Also, if you need inspiration, the customer gallery is the place to go. There is so much inspiration there, so many photos, so many customer submitted ways of using the products they purchased from our store over the years. Be a great way for you to get inspired even for your album. Now, one more thing, if you're new to my teaching or to this video, that maybe this video caught your eye and it's the first time you're here with us, head to maymaymadeit.com and sign up for our emails and text messages. We send out our emails and text messages every time we put out a new video or a live stream, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here. Till next time, bye now.